June 29th. Annie, would you do a roll call for us?
Now, online, we have Cheryl Hartman, Chet Krauser, Alicia Beckholt, Jackson Lee, Emily Brock, Kyla Lennox, Melissa Fisher, and MCAT. In 206, we have Commissioners Slotnick, Sturmeyer, and Darrow. We have Andrew Chorney, John Hart, Allison Franz, Carrie Powers, myself, Annie Kathy, and we have guests who will introduce themselves.
Well done, guests.
I'm Bonnie Buckingham. I'm the Executive Director of the Community Food and Agriculture Coalition.
I'm Nick. I work at Parks, Trails, and Open Lands.
Jenny Zazo, the CFAC, Communications and Development Director.
Thank you, Annie. Thanks, everybody, for coming. It's been fun to have a big group in here. It's been a long time. Before we dive in, do we have any public comment on items not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we're going to jump to our consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda anyone would like to pull out and talk about?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I will second that.
All right, any public comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, we got a lot done there very quickly. Okay, our first action items from Nick.
Yeah, so we bring you today the lease agreement to with CFAC to occupy Lawan Ranch. And as we know, this is a partnership that is years in the making, and we're really excited to get started and have them occupy a really unique, cool space in the valley. I think Anna has the actual lease.
Original to sign.
Yes,
We're
official.
Sign it today.
Nice. Do you guys want to say anything?
We just want to say thank you. This is an amazing gift to us, and we are very excited to be partnering with the county and really making it a place where the public can come and enjoy and learn about not only the history of agriculture, but the history of this place and the future as well. And so we feel really honored to be a small blip in the history of this land.
Well done. Well, I want to say thanks too, and I also want to thank my friend and colleague,
Yeah.
Dave Strohmeyer, who made this a project and pushed it along and got it over the finish line.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. And when you say thanks, I want to say thanks to you too. In my limited understanding of historical preservation, I see use and preservation as going hand in hand. When we can use something, there is a justification for its existence beyond its historical merit, which has tons of merit, but we can tell the world, look, see how valuable this is. This is where the HQ for CFAC is. I also want to say thanks in that your leasing this allowed us to come up with a financial stream by which we could use to make the necessary improvements in that building so that this didn't fall squarely on the backs of taxpayers. Instead, we were able to work in partnership with folks in the private sector, get something done that has public merit, and give a permanent, semi-permanent home to you all. Give this thing its sort of gem status that it deserves. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Bonnie.
Yeah. Everybody is shouting here.
Yeah, building on that, yes, absolutely. Thank you, CFAC. Thank you, Josh and Juanita. This project, to be utterly blunt, and it's too bad that we don't have media here today. This is one lease agreement that would.
We'll see the
Go
recording.
watch later.
Yes, this is worth celebrating. It was not that many years ago that we were poised to basically put up a for sale sign on that parcel. And we have come a long way since then, not only in terms of turning back some ideas for using this property that were basically incongruous with the property itself, the historical value, the way in which CFAC is perfectly aligned to have its headquarters at this location. But not only did we kind of dodge the bullet on some proposals that would not have worked there, but I think have taken a leadership role here in Missoula County and the state in showing how we can adaptively reuse a piece of public property, not only to recognize and value the past, but also to really be a hub of activity in the present and into the future. So thank you all. And I look forward to, I will make the motion to approve this lease.
Enthusiastic second.
Any public comment?
Did you guys think this could happen? Those of you who've been here for.
Heart is stone faced.
Yeah.
I put no thought into it.
Yeah, that's an honest response.
Seems like a good solution. I did review the lease. Sorry.
Ugh.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Right. And did
Thanks
you
to
guys want
PTOL staff.
Yeah.
Did you guys want a picture of the sign? Yeah. Okay, maybe let's take a picture too.
Thanks. We need to thank the Jasons.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Emery Hauser.
Did a great job. And Tracy, I
And
believe, is the
Tracy.
contractor,
Yeah.
again, did a great job in terms of historical preservation and accuracy, attention to detail, keeping costs down. All three of those folks were fantastic.
And Andrew, thanks for your
And Andrew,
creativity and how to finance this.
Wow.
Mhm.
Beautiful to be able to use these payments that pay off repairs.
We gotta give Sonic a better pen though.
There's one in the dish there. You need to.
A huge-
Yeah.
Here we go.
Where's the arbitrator then?
Right.
All right, wait, why don't you guys go over and we'll do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, you want to do this? This was this was.
Yeah.
To me.
No,
There we go. Okay.
Wait,
She's
Nick, you
down
got
in
it.
there. I know.
I'll do the next one.
Okay. All right, so it was.
All right, you wanna get in there next?
Sure.
Oh, no, we're doing another one next.
You can stay, you want to stay in your
Sorry,
spot.
you, okay, move that chair along.
Oh,
no.
Where's, okay, Dave,
Okay.
sit in the chair. There we go. Nick, get in here. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Are we supposed to be looking at you?
No, no, it's a candid, it's a
Oh,
candid. No, no.
I'm totally, I'm looking at the camera. Oh,
Okay.
okay. Awesome. Yeah.
That's why I just.
There we go.
Okay, all right.
Nicely done. Oh, and Bonnie's.
Yeah.
Wait.
We'll have a whole montage.
Here we go. Yeah. Clap for Bonnie.
I know.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all so much.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thanks for
you.
coming over.
Thank you very much.
You guys had a good poker face.
All right.
Thanks.
That was fun. Thank you.
Jackson, I believe you were here to speak about a movement called Clinton Rising.
Yes, Josh, I mistitled it. I apologize.
Thanks.
I am here to talk about the Clinton Community Park reuse plan. And this park has long served as an important recreation and community gathering space. In recent years, park amenities have fallen into disrepair. So in early 2022, Missoula County secured resources from the EPA to conduct a targeted brownfield assessment. And then subsequent to that brownfield assessment, we were also able to receive planning assistance from the Brownsfield and Land Revitalization Program to create a future plan and conceptual design for the park. And to inform that process in the fall of 2022, Parks, Trails, and Open Land staff, in collaboration with a consultant team and the EPA, kicked off an extensive public engagement. So we had a school assembly, there was meetings with interested partners and stakeholders, the school board, and then also an evening gathering at Port Henry's to round it off. After that engagement, the consultant team put together a final draft plan, reuse plan, and that's been now up on Missoula County Voice for the last 3 months, opened up public comment and questions. So out of that 3-month period of review, the Parks and Trails Advisory Board recommended adoption at their June meeting. And then if adopted, next steps would be taking advantage of available funding, addressing the challenges presented by the existing community center building, and developing partnerships that will be needed to create the vibrant community space that is envisioned for the property. So we offer it for your consideration today.
Does have any questions, thoughts?
No, this is a great trajectory that
It
we
is.
are on.
Yeah, no joke on the Clinton Rising. I mean, this park getting life breathed back into it, new life. The skate park, the community council, Clinton is rising.
It wasn't too long ago that basically when we thought of this community center, we thought of feuding families or factions in Clinton. So this is a great turn of events.
Both mediation.
Super.
Yeah. There's that too, yes.
That was
And
exciting one.
I should make mention, our program's very excited about this, and something that came out of the workshops that's also very exciting is there's a working group formed around the park. So there's a lot of positive energy within the community, and they're actively fundraising and looking towards these improvements that are outlined in the plan.
I'd move that the board adopt the Clinton Community Park Reuse Plan, but I like Clinton Rising.
Yeah. We may need to do that.
I will second that.
All right, any public comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Jackson, you get to do the next one too. This next one's my home park.
It is your home park, Josh. So this is a grant agreement with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks through their Trail Stewardship Program for a grant award from Missoula County to establish a trailhead and also a connecting trail from the parking lot that was designed and constructed by Public Works last year, which is very valuable to our program and the recreation at Big Sky Park, and connect that parking lot to the existing perimeter trail at Big Sky Park. And so these improvements in tandem, and then also when you include a trail design signage package to try to bring identity and understanding that the park is in fact one of Missoula counties, and we're proud of that fact. We think it will provide a safer, more equitable, and accessible outdoor recreation facility. Contingent on commissioner approval and contractor availability, construction activities would start in the summer of 2024. And the total project award amount is $58,450, which requires a 10% match of $5,845 of Missoula County match, which we already have allocated from funds set aside for general park improvements at Big Sky. And I'd just really like to note that a huge reason as to why this was successful, this application, was because of the efforts of the Big Sky Stewardship Committee, and we greatly appreciate their contributions and all they do at Big Sky Park.
What does the trail access look like? Like
What does it look like now, or what will it look like?
well, both, I guess, because I actually haven't tried to go from parking lot to the.
Yeah, well, it's Jackson can describe.
Yeah, I can even screen share
Oh,
the
cool.
current condition. So we have the cross here between Spurgeon and Tower. This is the parking lot. This aerial is the old condition of the parking lot. As I mentioned, Public Works designed and constructed a new parking lot that will be the general public use space, the dedicated space, and then off of the south end of this parking lot will be the trailhead. And then the connector trail I mentioned would go from the trailhead up to the existing perimeter trail here. Right now, there's a real challenge with access. There's informal access points from Tower Street as well as off of 37th Avenue. But this is a great opportunity for us to formalize access directly from that new parking lot.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that visual, because I didn't understand.
There's a little kind of a web of informal trails right now.
Yeah.
Unless you live there, it would be hard to tell where you're actually supposed to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. I would move that we approve the contract with Montana FWP.
Second, and I mean, 58,000, they can do this whole thing for 58,000. That's amazing.
It's a thin layer of gravel.
It
Oh,
will be
you
a
know.
gravel trail. Yep.
So, any public comments? Okay, all in favor?
I,
All right, thanks a lot, Jackson, for
Thank you.
2 pieces of really good work.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, commissioners.
Wait.
Morning.
good morning.
I think you said my name, so.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
gonna say
Julie.
something. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen because I think this can be a little bit complicated when we start talking about it, and I think having a map will help with that. Let me know when you see it, please.
Yep. You see it.
So the Missoula Development Park is located on almost 450 acres of land that used to all be owned by Missoula County. It's a mixed-use development, but primarily industry that was annexed into the city in 2018. So the common area parcels that you see highlighted on your screen were designated parkland, and I'm putting my fingers in quotes because many of them are not, almost all of them are not really parks in the way that we think of them. They're not usable parks that they're not parks for people. And they're often part of the regional stormwater system with detention basins occupying all or some of the parcel. So while the area is annexed into the city, the parkland remained in county ownership, which, as you know, will not happen in the future due to a change in statute this past legislative session. But this was 2018 when this happened. So it remained in county ownership, and the Property Owners Association was responsible for managing the parklands. But this organization has fallen into, well, it's pretty much dissolved, at least it's non-functional. And so along with the stormwater facilities, the parklands have not been maintained. We've been really, really basic maintenance, and it's been funded by money left over in the TIF from the old TIF district that sunsetted, and we're out of funds in that district. And so since the development's in city limits, we want to transfer ownership and maintenance responsibility of these parklands to the city. So the purpose of this interlocal agreement is to define roles and responsibilities for both the city and the county for providing a conditions assessment, alternative analysis, and improvements to the stormwater system in the development park, as well as document the intent to transfer ownership. So in the interlocal, the city agrees to manage and the county agrees to pay for a condition assessment of the regional stormwater system to determine what work is needed to bring the system up to function in the event of a five-year event. And so the funds would come out of the AT&T pays us lease payments every month, and the funds would come out of that. And then some of them will come from tax increment from the technology district, as is permissible based on what impacts the technology district. Right now, we don't have the hydrology done to know what percentage could be eligible for technology district funding. So the county also in the interlocal agrees to pay for the work to address the deferred maintenance before transferring ownership. And we are agreeing to do that by pursuing the sale of parks 4, 6, and 8, which are in yellow on your screen. Sell them for the highest and best use in order to fund improvements. So that could be whatever is the highest and best use, likely development. That work would be under a contract addendum based on how much the conditions assessment identifies as the cost. So the city agrees to take over maintenance of all of the stormwater facilities and immediately. And everything you see, so everything you see in blue, and then also everything you see in green immediately. So they're gonna take over maintenance of the Airway and Expressway landscape boulevards and Kestrel Park East. As you know, Kestrel Park West may be purchased by Dismet School. And then Redfern, the kind of the pink color Redfern and Canyon Creek Village, we're hoping to transfer ownership to the Property Owners Association. And that would be something we worked on moving forward. I'm gonna, and the city also agreed to take on Butler Creek management, although it doesn't need anything because it's a riparian area that's wild. So I'm gonna pause and let you guys answer questions. Ask questions.
Yeah, Dismet School, where's that process?
I don't know if Juniper's on the line. She's managing that process. Juniper, are you, or Chad, are you here? Well, last I heard, they had exercised their option to purchase based on the fact that the lease agreement changed. We had an appraisal done and we sent them the appraisal, and now we're waiting to see if they can come up with the funds if they can afford it. So we're waiting, falls in their court.
Okay, thanks.
Emily, these storm water basins, they weren't developed originally to withstand the 5-year flood?
No, they were. It's just that the culverts are full of debris and they're not functioning properly. So I think, as you know, the development park, we've had a lot of lessons learned from developing out there and developing in these types of soils but yeah, they were designed that way. So hopefully it won't cost too much.
Emily, did we ever get any feedback from property owners out there or folks who currently use any of the park parcels, like the one with the shelter and shelters and trails, as far as just feedback on disposing of those parcels?
Well, I reached out to the landowners, all the adjacent landowners and businesses, and nobody responded to my emails. Well, a few people did. And they were all business owners, and it was pretty unanimous, the sentiment that it's not a useful park and that it's a business area that doesn't need parks, and they would like to see more businesses there. So that's for 4, 6, and 8.
Right.
There's no residences near there.
But did anyone say anything about whatever it's called, 2 East?
Well, it's gonna stay a park. It's just gonna be managed by owned and managed by the city.
Oh, I thought that was the one with the, I'm
Which one
confused.
is-
I thought 2 East was the one with the shelters.
No.
No, okay. Which was the one with the shelters that we walked with you?
8 and 4.
Okay, thanks.
So I did want to, if I recall correctly, wanted to point out that the situation we're in right now, that Emily has thoughtfully crafted a solution, a way to navigate out of this mess, would not happen in the future because of a law change in last year's legislative session that said if the city annexes a bunch of county land, they get the parkland as well as all the property in terms of annexation. So this is sort of a vestigial chunk of land management, meaning everything's changed except for this little piece where we're managing these parks, but all the land around it have been annexed into the city. So doing this kind of brings us into consistency with current law, though I know it doesn't have to be that way. It feels good. It also feels really good from a common sense perspective. This is in the city. These little parks are islands. They shouldn't be ours to manage. They should be the city's to manage. And then if that, and as Emily's pointing out, most of them aren't really parks. They're stormwater areas. So I feel like this is a thoughtful way to clean up a situation and finish our involvement in this larger parcel that has met its goals. It's been a success, and now it's time for us to be going from it.
Yeah, I think I would,
Say that again.
yeah, also point out that this is not a precedent that we're setting here. This is us playing nice with the city because they're such great partners with us on so many other projects. But not only that, the state law change clarified the law that when they annex, they have to take all of the facilities, but we still do think that they have to manage. There's still definitely a legal argument that they have to manage all of the stormwater within city limits. That's pretty strong. So I just want to be clear that this is us playing nice, and this is the state law change clarified something. Because we do have other stormwater facilities within the city that when we bring the land inventory project to you, we're going to recommend transferring to the city. And we don't have a funding source to bring we can't set this precedent where we bring everything up to standard before we transfer it.
Bit by bit.
Good clarification.
It's all incremental.
But Andrew, you said something.
You know, and the cost to do that improvement now, why are we doing that?
When we sell,
Oh, I mean, the stormwater improvements for the city.
Why are we making those improvements?
Why were you incurring those costs?
Emily, are you saying that the only way that the city would accept these parcels is if we do improvements to them now?
Yes, the direction that I thought that I got was that we should play nice with the city and we should come to an agreement that everyone agreed upon. That they agreed upon. And if we just gave them to the city, that would have been not welcome.
Would they have taken them? I guess that's the bottom line.
That's what's not clear in state law. They don't have to, it's not clear whether they have to take, when we give them something that they can't say no.
I mean, there's an element of fairness here. We bring them up to snuff, that costs money. They maintain them in the future, that costs money. Like we're each covering a chunk of cost. At least ours are finite. Theirs go on forever.
Is it also the
Well,
case?
you guys do have a choice here. I just want to say, we could not sign this agreement and just transfer everything to the city and play hardball and let them and see what happens. I mean, it's a political thing. It would be a game. It will be a game of chicken, and we will transfer ownership of all these parcels to the city, and we will see what they do. They may transfer them back.
Hey, Emily, so or John Hart, is the recently passed statute retroactive in this way?
No.
So we couldn't just transfer.
Yes, we could. It's not clear. So like I said, the statute just clarified something that it clarified the position that we already had.
But are there two different standards for stormwater and parkland?
Yes.
Yeah, so the stormwater is the city's responsibility, correct?
It should be, Andrew. It should be. But because these are designated parks also, it was never clean. And the city, because of fiscal constraints and the law, was able to take a position that, no, we don't want these. And Emily has done a fantastic job. I mean, I've been notably, unmoved by the past action items today, but this is a really big deal. And, Emily is to be congratulated, as is Juniper and her staff. They have worked a long time diplomatically getting us to this interlocal where there is a process to transfer these to the city. make things right, and I hope I'm not wrong, the money that the county has to come up with either is within the existing TIF funds, or it will come from some of the parcels in the sort of the orange parcels that we're going to sell. So we're not having to take a lot of other taxpayer money to make this happen. Is that correct, Emily?
Yes, I think this is, when you use the word diplomatic, that's the reason, to answer Andrew's question, the reason why we're doing this is because we have chosen to be diplomatic instead of adversarial with the city. We can choose to be adversarial with the city. It will hurt.
It's not, and I would say it's not worth it. There's a way to cover these costs from within the project that are really actually pretty modest and be a good partner and a good neighbor. And then they take on costs in the future. We're extricating ourselves from this kind of move forward situation that we're stuck in right now. I think it's an elegant solution. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that I want to say, and I know Chet also wants to say something, is we're working on the land inventory. And one of the things that we're laying out in the next phase of the land inventory is the transfer of all of the rest of the relevant sort of situations throughout the county that might be similar to this, without bringing them up to standard. And in it, like I said, we're not setting precedent here. We're being diplomatic. We're because we don't have a plan. We don't have right now. Right now we are liable for these parcels, and we have no way to maintain them. And so, yeah, like we can be adversarial if you want to. If you guys want to play hardball with the city right
I
now,
don't.
we can.
But Chet has his hand up.
Chet wants to play hardball.
Chet wants to play hardball.
Yeah, I'm all about hardball. No, I just am echoing the same thing that John just said, and Emily, I think this has been a good job. This is really kind of moving into a new negotiating space, at least kind of with this particular project. The other thing that I guess I would remind us of, and it does overlap in these conversations, is we will need to revisit the interlocal for Fort Missoula Regional Park in this very near future. And we also could be in a position where we're needing to have those similar conversations with the city around Marshall. And I think all of these conversations tend to bleed together. And that's another reason for why we wanted to take kind of a good foot forward in some negotiations with the city and trying to hopefully see similar success moving forward with those other agreements that we know we might need to have conversations about. And there could be difficulty in figuring out who does what and what those commitments are.
Great to set the stage with diplomacy rather than adversarial tone.
Well, and doing nothing is not an option. That's the main thing. Like the POA,
Dave's favorite mantras. Let's move this along.
I will move to that the board approve request. There's two E's there. Request the board to approve the chair to sign the interlocal agreement.
Any public comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Emily.
Yes,
John,
thank you.
and Andrew and everybody for a good discussion. Thanks. Okay.
All right.
Division improvements agreement.
We're back to the notably unmoving action items.
It's an improvement.
Yeah, you love these, you know the routine. This one is particularly insignificant. It involves the B&M Zoo subdivision, which is just behind Peak Fitness Center on Blue Mountain Road.
Oh.
Phase 2 of that subdivision.
That low housing.
They're starter homes for Alphabet employees. Maybe, I don't know. So the developer's ready to file phase 2 plat. There is one small gravel trail segment that hasn't been completed. In order to guarantee that trail is completed before May 5th of 2025.
No.
The developer has given Missoula County a cashier's check in the amount of $4,997.50. And that is,
Did you say 4,000?
4,000.
The smallest
I told you.
development ever.
Wow.
Significant. No, we've had smaller ones.
We have.
This definitely makes the podium. That cost estimate was approved by Public Works and by myself, and I would recommend the board enter into this improvements agreement.
All right, thank you. You guys think, do we believe they're good for the $4,000?
I think we,
Well, we got a cashier's.
We got a cashier's.
it's in hand.
That is,
That is the nature of the.
that is the
development.
gold standard.
Even better than a letter of credit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
We just walked to,
Yeah.
we literally walked across the street to the first security branch and cashed the check. We had the money.
Make this budget happen.
Yeah, I move that we approve the improvements.
Second,
All right, any public comment? Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye, thanks, everybody. Any correspondence, discussion items, or upcoming events? It's gonna squeak a few minutes before.
It's our last
Are you
admin
looking
in
at me
a
like
while.
there's- is there-
No, nothing.
It is our last admin for a
The
while.
11th will be our next.
oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay, everybody, stay safe next week.
Yes, stay safe over the weekend. Don't set off any fires,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, please.
Joining.
Returns.